Hello everyone, this is Vet Talk and I'm your host, Sergeant Gonzalo Duran. Today's honored guest is Andrew Einstein and Cassidy from Team Foster. Andrew, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And Cassidy, would you like to say hi? Oh, look at that. Well, thank you for joining us, Cassidy.
She's happy to be here too.
Oh. So, Andrew, would you mind telling us about your background?
Sure. So I was born and raised in New Jersey, just on the other side of Philadelphia. And, growing up, I really had a passion for helping others. And I decided that I wasn't ready for college at the end of high school. So without my parents' knowledge, I enlisted in the Marine Corps. They thought I was accepted to Widener and starting the fall semester. They found out when at graduation they had everyone stand up that was serving, and I wasn't standing up because I hadn't told them yet. And the girl next to me pushed me out of my seat, and I immediately felt my mother's stare. I remember looking over, mouthing, "I'm sorry." But we had a good talk afterwards, and I explained why I wanted to do it. So I did one semester of community college, and then left for the Marine Corps. I joined the reserves because I was also pursuing a career as a police officer. So I wanted to do both at the same time. And, over the next 20 years, I had two amazing careers.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. To the parents out there, we try not to do that, but, there's something that, I actually did that to my mother as well. One day somebody's knocking at her door saying, "Hey, you got to sign the papers." She wasn't reluctant, but when I turned 18, obviously it was a little different story. So,
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, you had the military life and civilian police life. Would you tell us the difference you've seen in between those?
Sure. The military and police, they're really parallel, right? Which helped on both sides. When I first went to Iraq, coming back, we didn't have a tough deployment. It was a very easy deployment, but still coming back, you realize that, your life kind of stopped. Everyone at home was watching the new movies and the new shows coming out. When I came back to work, I also had to learn about the updates they had over the last year, and it was a learning curve trying to get back into the swing of things, but it wasn't terribly difficult. The harder transition was after Afghanistan. It was two completely different deployments, two completely different jobs. Ironically, in Iraq, my job was to look for roadside bombs. Didn't find any. In Afghanistan, I transitioned to civil affairs, and I was attached to a reconnaissance company, and that's where I found a grenade, and came home with this. Now I have this lovely computer in the side of my head. But the transition coming home after that was extremely difficult.
And something like that. Thank you for bringing it up and sharing. A lot of people don't understand that we train for these specific jobs, but in a war zone, danger is always there.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, thank you once again for your service.
My pleasure.
And now that you're, let's say, a civilian, would you say you're a civilian almost there?
So I still am a police officer. I'm in the process of retiring. Unfortunately, I was hurt in the line of duty 2 years ago. Trying to make an arrest, I ended up paralyzing my wrist, and it was a career-ending injury. So I've been going through the process, and that should be finalized this year. So I'll be a civilian for the first time in over 20 years, in 2026.
Well, God bless on that, and thank you once. Not only serving the military, but also serving the great people of Pennsylvania.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Thank you.
Camden City.
So now, with that being said, in this situation, where does Team Foster come in?
So I play ice hockey for the Flyers Warriors. It's a disabled veteran hockey team under the Flyers alumni and the Flyers organization. I started that probably about 4 years ago, when my oldest started playing ice hockey at the same rink. And I quickly found the camaraderie that I hadn't had since I left the service. And getting back on the ice, it was amazing. You get to push yourself. It's a brotherhood and sisterhood. One day we were right before practice, Team Foster comes in, and my now boss told a story of what they do, how the Flyers want to provide a service dog for one of the Warriors. And I remember thinking, I'm so happy that this is happening, that one of the warriors is going to get a dog because they're absolutely life-changing. And if I can backtrack a little bit, I already had a service dog at the time. When I first got back in 2011, I had that hard transition. And I took it upon myself to hide my problems. I was afraid that if I asked for help, they would take my badge and gun and they'd kick me out of the Marine Corps. Two things that I loved. So I self-medicated, and as things got worse and worse, it got to the point where I ultimately made the decision to commit suicide. In planning my suicide, I picked a specific date. I was supposed to bring home a dog that would be a service dog, but at the time it didn't matter to me. I said, I just want to be off this earth. So I picked my suicide for May 5th, 2012. That night, we went out. I put a bottle of pills on my nightstand with the thought of coming home. I was going to take all the pills, go to sleep for the last time. The next day, when my parents were scheduled to come pick me up to take me to get that dog, they'd find me, and while dealing with my death, the dog would go to a loving family. After drinking all night, my friends unknowingly saved my life by putting me on the couch. I couldn't get to the bottle of pills. That next day, when I picked up that dog, he saved my life. He instantly gave me purpose and responsibility that I had been lacking. And he didn't fix my problems by any accord, but he forced me to get help because I had to be there for him. So I started seeing doctors for my brain injury. I started accepting the fact that I had PTSD, and because of that, I started recovering. Not soon after I met my wife, I was able to make an amazing career in the police force. So now back to about 3 years ago, I had already made a decision that once I retired my service dog, I was not going to get another dog. Knowing they don't live forever and wanting to not have to deal with his passing and figure out how to live life without him at the same time, I started forcing myself into situations where I would normally need him. And I was able to learn to live life that way. So making the decision when I heard this speech, I remember saying, man, I cannot wait for a warrior to get the dog. This is going to be awesome. I mean, these dogs are life-changing. Afterwards, Kevin came out and said, hey, listen, a lot of the warriors gave us your name. Can we have a conversation? And at first I politely declined. I said, look, I appreciate it. I don't want another service dog. But he was a little insistent on having a conversation, and he explained to me in that conversation about hearing assistance dogs, something I never thought of. After that 10-minute conversation, I went home, spoke with my wife, and we decided to go through the process. And 2 years later, I got matched up with Cassidy.
Well, that's a beautiful story, and thank you for being so detailed. Obviously, opening up is a big thing, and we want the people to know that if you're in a crisis, that you always can call the crisis hotline. That you can text or call 988, and for veterans, you can press 1. That's for the people out there. Now, I mentioned your relationship with Team Foster. That's how your transition with your service dog got in. But the reason I brought it up the way I did was because now you're also working with them as well.
I am. I am very fortunate to have taken on a position with Team Foster a few months back, and I'm now in the position that my now boss was doing when he had the conversation with me. So I get to have those conversations with veterans and help pair them with service dogs. And joining the Team Foster family well before I was employed, we say veterans, service dogs, community, right? And each of those we take to heart. And our main goal is to pair highly accredited service dogs with wounded and disabled veterans. But the community aspect is something that I think separates Team Foster from pretty much every other service dog industry out there. When it comes to community, going the 2-year process to get her, they invited my family to Phillies games, Flyers games. Our CEO, Nick Learman, he called me up one day. He said, listen, I know you're talking about retiring Gunner. I have an idea. If you're ready to retire him, let's send him out with a bang. And so We said, yep, let's see what this does. And he brought us to Citizens Bank Park, where I got to bring my oldest son, one of my best friends, and his kids. So I got to look like a rock star in the middle of it. We got to meet Kyle Schwarber and walk around the park, go on the field, and really send off Gunner in a way I could have never done without Team Foster. So, you know, the community is not just putting you with a dog, it's you're become part of a family. And it's just amazing to be able to now do that as an employee for them.
You know, you bring up a good point, and thank you for mentioning, you know, retiring dogs, whether in the police force or military, the canine units, you know, once they reach their certain age, they also have to retire as well. And they're always looking for homes. So for individuals that are out there, you know, there's opportunities for to take those dogs and adopt them. So just keep that in mind, guys. With your situation right now, you know, Team Foster does, you already mentioned New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. Do they cover any other areas?
So we are nationwide. We have, last year, I believe we assisted with placing 125 dogs with veterans around the nation. We have 3 local-ish service dog partners. One is up here near New York City in Long Island, America's Vet Dogs. Then out in Hershey, Pennsylvania, we have Susquehanna Service Dogs, which is where Cassidy came from. And then just outside of DC, we have America's Vet Dogs. While all 3 are different, they're still similar in how they go about pairing their veterans with dogs. And they're all a part of Assistance Dog International, which is the highest standard for service dogs in the nation and around the country, around the world. For instance, the ADA says in order for a dog to be a service dog, they have to provide at least one task for their human. ADI mandates the dogs provide minimum of 3 tasks. And that's why we say highly accredited service dogs. We don't just send them to a trainer and say, here you go. These dogs are bred for this job. They start training at 10 days old when they go to puppy raisers until they're about 1.5 years. And all throughout that time, they're doing specific learning tasks and benchmarks and getting acclimatized to be in public. At about 1.5 years, they go back to their respective kennel where they start learning tasks for their potential partner. At 2 years, if there's a match, then the partner and the dog go to 3 weeks of training together to learn how to work together. And then for Susquehanna service dogs, in the first year, you have to go back at 6 months for a reevaluation just to make sure everything's copacetic and the dog's doing what they need to do. And then every year after that, until you retire the dog, you have to go for a reevaluation. You know, while there's no certification, if you will, they are here for a purpose. They're not pets. They are a working dog. They are a tool. And if they're not doing what they were taught to do, it's not just a disservice to the veteran, it's a disservice to the animal. To her, she loves working. It is fun for her. And if she doesn't get to work, she doesn't get to have fun.
You know, I've been in, let's say, the realm of service dogs for the last 10 years. That ADI, that part I did not know. So thank you very much for sharing that part.
Absolutely.
So, you know, Cassidy is also a lovely dog, but also highly qualified at the same time.
Yes.
And, you know, you bring a good point regarding let's say, the organizational process of it. You know, first you have to find these dogs, and I'm sure there's a process for that part. Then you also have to train them and then pair them up with individuals. And then there's, you know, the acclimation of it coming all together. And it's not a one-day, you know, thing. It's a process. It's long-term, because, you know, these situations are very severe and also beneficial for back into the community and society. So, you know, for the people to understand, thank you for being so detailed as well. This is a process. Now, Team Forester, you know, just in case anybody wanted to help out or interested in, you know, helping with the community, you know, how would they go about reaching out?
So if I could just go back one step just to talk about the training
Please.
a little bit more. So it can be up to a 2-year process, if not a little longer. It took me 2 years to get to Cassidy. So her main job is hearing assistance, but she also does PTSD, which is 2 different types of dogs. So to get to her, I met 25 dogs who were potential matches for me that in the end were not right because the trainer said they cannot do the job that we need them to do for me. And that's how great this process is. It's not just, here's a dog, go train. They are making sure you are getting the perfect dog for you. You know, you don't just get to go to the car lot and say, I like that car, I want to buy it and go home. It is so intricate, and it's because, again, they're not pets. But to your point, for people getting involved with Team Foster, we have so many events. One coming up here in New York City in about 2 weeks. We have the Rough Ride, which is a 24-hour cycle-a-thon. And a lot of people, when we tell them about it, they're like, 24 hours on a bike. It's not what you think. We have teams that enter. The teams can be as big as they want to be. You can be 15 minutes on the bike, 30 minutes on the bike, but you're going for 24 hours. And it's a great event with food, drink, music, speakers. There's puppies going to be there. There's a puppy kissing booth. There'll be service dogs in training, so you can see the process of what they're training to be. There'll be working service dogs there. And then our CEO, Nick Learman, he calls it the bad mofo. At like around 2:30 in the morning, he'll get on the bike and he'll challenge anybody in the crowd to, I think it's a 30-minute race against him. And if you beat him, he gives you his own cash. I think it's $250, $300. But it's a great event. That's one of our biggest staples is the Rough Ride. We have one in Philadelphia coming up in June, and then we had Pittsburgh not too long ago. You don't have to be a bike rider to do it. And if you can't get on a team, I encourage everyone to just come on by. All that information is on our website at teamfoster.org. In addition to that, we have the Foster 100, which is a 100-mile bike ride from Camden to Cape May. And that, in and of itself, is just an amazing feat. To see these groups cycle all the way down and see them finish, it's amazing. And at each pit stop, if you will, they have puppies for you to pet. So it's an incentive to keep going. The farther you go, the more puppies you get to pet. For our golfers, we have the McMasters tournament, which is down near Philadelphia, coming up this summer. It's a great, golf tournament to get involved. It's just a fun day. And then in the fall, we have a 24-hour running event, again, outside of Philadelphia. It's called the Last Man Standing. And I think this year we had one person finish. Yeah.
Wow, that's intense. That's
Yeah.
intense.
Yep.
I've never heard something like that before. But once again, I'm assuming that civilians and veterans and military can participate.
Absolutely.
In
We take everyone into our family. While we are specific to pairing service dogs with veterans, we want to help anybody join our community who wants to help. Whether you're young, old, veteran, or not, there's so many people out there that truly want to give back, and some of them just don't know how. Joining Team Foster is a really great opportunity to do that. We have opportunities to volunteer at events where we go out where you can just speak about Team Foster. We do 4th of July parades. Sometimes it's just as easy as getting together to go to a Phillies game, or I guess up here, Mets or Yankees.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan, but we get together, and that's that community again. My young boys, I have 3 sons, 9, 6, and 5. They're well ingrained in the Team Foster family. They love helping out. They love coming to events. They love wearing their shirts. So, we are just one big family.
Let's clarify for the upcoming Rough Ride. That's going to be on March 28th to the 29th.
Yes.
Is there a start and end time?
I believe it starts and ends at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Okay.
Yes.
And obviously people can join. If they want to get more information, let's say register or just more information on you and that event, how would they go about that?
Just go to our website at teamfoster.org or type in Rough Ride New York City, RUFF, playing on the dog term. If you just type in Rough Ride, it'll pop up Philly, New York City, Pittsburgh. If you can't find it there, again, go to our website at teamfoster.org. But we're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I believe. You find us on social media, you'll see some posts about it.
All right, thank you for that. If you don't mind, if we talk a little bit more about Cassidy.
Sure.
So Cassidy, and once again, this is something I did not know. I knew, for a service dog, they always try to prepare for the situation, the conditions, and there's always, there can be multiple things. But I never thought, it can go up to 3 or more. Would you mind saying what Cassidy's trained for?
Absolutely. So her main job is a hearing assistance dog. When I was injured, I lost all the hearing on my right side, and now I have a cochlear implant, which when it's on, I can hear pretty well. At home, I take it off because it is a lot on my brain, and when I sleep, I don't wear it, but I can't hear anything. So I can't hear a fire alarm. I can't hear my name being called. For my phone alarm to wake up, because of my brain injury, if I have a loud alarm to hear it, it could trigger a migraine. But I can't hear a soft alarm. So she was trained specifically for a soft alarm, so she hears it and then wakes me up. So she's my new alarm clock. The downside to that is there's no way to teach a dog the snooze button. So when my alarm goes off, I have to hide under the covers to keep her, because she keeps going until I get up. She alerts me, like I said, to fire alarms, door knocks, things like that. She can alert my wife when I'm having a migraine. And then outside of that, she does also some PTSD stuff with deep pressure, where, as you saw her come on my lap before, if we're out in public and I'm starting to, get some anxiety, I can call her up, she'll focus on me, and that deep pressure is what helps me calm down. At home, she can lay on me, and it's really amazing what these dogs can do. I say that Cassidy's like bottom of the pack in the training as far as tasks. We have paired a veteran with a dog who's diabetic. And this dog has been trained so well that when the veteran wakes up, he holds his hands out each morning. And the dog hits one hand if his blood sugar's low and the other hand if his blood sugar's high. To be able to do that instead of testing yourself daily, that right there is absolutely amazing.
Well, we're grateful for, these service dogs, and also for your service in situations that come up like that. And once again, for the individuals that are out there, if you want to participate in any of the events, want to, get involved with the community or donate, Andrew, would you go over the information again and maybe how to reach you as well?
Sure. So I'm the Philadelphia area community representative. My area is Philadelphia centric. We do have a New York City rep up here, Nate. He's got it. We were just together with his service dog, Kenzo. But if you go to our website, again, teamfoster.org, you can find us, all the information on each of us. You can send us a generic email. There's also a tab to donate, which you can donate at any time. If you love dogs and you want to help out, one of the best ways you can help, aside from donating money or your time, is to become a puppy raiser. So the two things that limit us in, or put a ceiling on how many dogs we can pair with veterans are the funds we raise and the puppies we raise. Dogs can't go to veterans if we don't have puppy raisers getting them ready to learn the tasks. And for puppy raising, you get the dog at about 10 weeks, and then whoever the trainer is will help take you through certain benchmarks. They'll teach you how to teach them obedience, things like that. You bring the dog in public to acclimatize them to working in public, and you have that dog all the way until they're 1.5 years. Then they go back to the trainer, as I said, to learn the specific tasks. For Susquehanna, during our 3-week training session, one of the greatest nights was the night where we got to meet her puppy raisers. And I get emotional every time I think about it. What the puppy raisers do, this is the final product. And if Cassidy was with any other puppy raiser, she wouldn't be the dog she is. And we still keep in contact. I send them pictures all the time. When my oldest plays hockey out there, they came to watch, and Cassidy saw him right away and was so happy to see him. And it truly is amazing to see who had her from the puppy stage all the way to when I had her. And I can tell you, raising puppies, you're saving lives. While my first service dog absolutely saved my life, she gave me a life I didn't think I could have when I thought I had a great life. And, it all starts with the puppy raisers.
Yes, I can see that. And Once again, thank you so much, Cassidy, for your work in the community as well. If you don't mind briefly, since we have a unique opportunity here, your transition from military and police work to now civilian job in the nonprofit world, how do you feel about that part?
So when the doctor told me that I was going to have to retire, it didn't hit until I was on the drive home. I love being a cop. It is who I am, just as much as being a Marine. I'm very proud of my career working in Camden City and getting to do the things I've gotten to do and help the people I've helped. I can't really describe it in words. And realizing that day when I got hurt, that was the last time I'd ever put a uniform on. It was tough. And I remember packing up my uniforms to put them away. I don't need them anymore. And just kind of looking at them, and it was hard because I've worn a uniform my entire adult life, and now I don't have one. But coming into Team Foster, into the private side, they really made it seamless. They helped me transition into what I was used to, into now more of, I can do things on my own instead of having to get permission or seeking someone that's above me. My boss jokes all the time because I ask him questions. He's like, you can just call Nick or just make the decision. So they really helped with that transition, but it was not easy knowing I'd never be a cop again.
Well, the reason I asked this question, because dealing with in the nonprofit world as a case manager for other veterans in the years, trying to find that balance has always been a difficulty for some individuals. I love to see and talk to individuals that had a good transition, so we can get more individuals to see that yes, it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but we'll all get there eventually.
Absolutely. I was a police officer. I'll always be a Marine, right? But I didn't make that who I was as a person, and I think that's what really helped. That was part of my life, but it's not who I am in here.
Well, Andrew, thank you again for coming, and those who are interested, once again, you can go on, what's the website again?
Teamfoster.org.
Teamfoster.org for more information. And Cassidy, thank you for helping us today. And until next time, I want to say thank you, everyone. I almost forgot, our new executive producer, Gary Lutz, I want to say thank you for him for coming out today and helping us. And as always, God bless you and God bless America.